Hello everyone. So it could be a short video kind of outlining a little bit of the potential of charcoal as a medium. You recognize that, of course, from the other videos, the shoe drawing we did. I'll kind of talk a little bit more about that, or that we are working on, I guess. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But over the years, I've had students draw other things as well, other objects, simple objects. Here's a pair of scissors that are drawn. You can see the approach I took with this. The one part of the handle is kind of still unrefined and undone, right? And the other is really refined and really done. So the side that's really done looked like the side's not done initially, right? It's just a kind of a, just a kind of honing over time, slowly. Here's a potato we did, and I kind of intentionally left one side unfinished. So the right side was what it looks like in the beginning, big expressive marks. And then as you develop the drawing, you ratchet up the contrast, right? Think about cleaning edges up and tighten up the mark making so that, there's still mark making in there. There's still little scribbles, little kind of parallel hatches in there. In charcoal, and some are drawn with charcoal, some are drawn into the charcoal with an eraser, right, with a pencil eraser. So there's various techniques to use, but you start with the scribble, and that's why the scribble is so nice. Here's a self-portrait I did using charcoal and white, dark charcoal, white charcoal, and straight edge. So this kind of, I threw these in just to show you what you can do with straight edge. In an organic form, which the human face is, you can use all straight lines to render that. Here's a pencil version, a charcoal pencil version of just using ruler, literally ruler to draw it. Line after line after line, so building a line up over a long period of time. And here is a piece that I did using a straight edge to create edge, erasing light against dark, and adding dark against light to create facets, right? To create architecture to the drawing, to the face. Without a lot of use of the scribble technique in this case, just laying the ruler down and kind of rotating the ruler as I go to kind of create a curve, right? We talked about that. Well, here's another example of 3 potatoes. They don't look like that right there, but here's how the drawing would start out. Really pretty, kind of expressive. And then you start tightening it up over time, right? You kind of hone in on the form. You start to develop the values a little bit more. Your scribbles become a little smaller. This is a long-term drawing, right? It's a 2-week drawing. So, and then at the end, that's kind of what it looks like. You can get into the surface and the texture rendering as well. And the one in the upper left back is I left a little bit more kind of open and expressive, right? So charcoal is a real particular quality about it in terms of being very malleable and very expressive. There's the shoe again. So I'm going to show you a series of stills here as the shoe developed. I put those up on the website for the Google site. So there's how it started, right? That was like that to begin with. Just this clustering of dark and light on the format, right, on the paper, as the drawing went. And just adding and subtracting and subtracting. See how you can gain... if you add enough charcoal and take it away, you gain kind of a gravity to the drawing, right? A sense of density. So now starting to clean the edges up, right? Not everything, but enough to start to get a sense of the thing. And then even more, right? But I'm leaving open areas still. I'm kind of letting the background and the shoe work together. And then I kind of wipe things down, a little bit and kind of add some more, Again, the edges disappear, they reappear. They disappear, they reappear. They disappear, they reappear. Again, we're locked into this mode of thinking about drawing as an outline and coloring it in, right? Don't want that. Charcoal is a much more expressive form than that. Now here I am covering the whole thing up again with some scribbles. Just kind of undoing the whole drawing, right? So that I can breathe life into it again. Gets stale after a while, and you got to kind of refresh things. See, I totally lost the back of the shoe there, right? And I pull it back in again. This is how you draw, particularly with charcoal. It's over a long period of time, and that you're pushing and pulling the drawing. Look how the scribbles, take on this painterly quality, right? Like I'm adding white paint to it or something, right? It's a pretty miraculous medium when you really take advantage of it. But again, it takes, probably this is probably a 5-hour drawing in total. So, but it takes a long time. Okay, thank you, and hopefully we can talk soon. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to mention before I go, I forgot. The idea of rendering something, a likeness of something, is something we want to do, right? We're kind of, this class is built around that life observation idea. But all drawings, and generally all works of art for that matter, are form and structure, right? So by their very nature, they're abstract. So a drawing really isn't anything more than an abstract kind of vision that eventually coalesces into something recognizable. But the really good artists realize that that it is not the thing that it is representing, visually speaking, right? It is a series of materials that have been manipulated. That's why they call it the plastic arts. So always keep that in mind when you make a drawing. Everybody wants to jump to the thing looking like the thing, right? To the drawing looking like the thing you're drawing. And then so what you get is a cheap imitation of that. So just let the drawing go. Be free with the medium. Let it flow. I guess that's the point I want to make with this charcoal drawing. That it should be an abstract experience for you. Okay, thanks.